we're entering the section called The Floor is Yours. And on today's section, we're going to be particularly focusing on transfer markets and FIFA Fair Play. Looking into the transfer market also particularly, we're going to ask the members of the jury about players being tapped up. We're going to talk about player valuations. Are they in terms of potential versus experience? And also, we're going to look at the English market. Is it overrated? Is it underrated? We'll wait and see just now. Get hyped. Alright then, gentlemen, you guys have heard the topics for The Floor is Yours today. I'm going to hand it over to Joburg. You guys are going to speak about FIFA Financial Fair Play. What's it all about? Is it working? What's happening? So whoever puts the hand up first will be the first person who will be able to answer on it. 1, 2, 3.
The FIFA Financial Fair Play. So basically what they basically looking at is how much you spend versus how much you are making and your debts as well. So with regards to some teams have a lot of debts, right? But they're still going to go buy players. So that's kind of unfair if you do have a lot of debts but you're still spending money, which is kind of wrong, which is why you see teams with bans and fines, for example, Atletico Madrid. It's a huge problem right now because there's not much effective measures that are put in place. So for example, if you do breach the financial fair play rules, you just get a slap on the wrist basically. So you get a little fine or you just get a transfer ban, which is not much because you've already done the damage. You've already bought the player, you've got what you've needed. So it's not that serious. It's something that's very, very bad right now, and I think everyone can agree with me is that teams like PSG, teams like Manchester City, they're just ravaging the market, which is very it's annoying for other teams who've worked so hard to get their money and they're keeping their books in check. So this thing of big money owners coming into the club and just throwing money in the team it's wrong because the team is not making the money. So that's what I think about it, and I think something serious needs to happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Snoop, for that great explanation on FIFA Financial Fair Play. What I'm going to pose to Team Cape Town now is that we're going to talk about English clubs and the markets there when it comes to buying players. As we know, the English league has a lot more money than all the other leagues in the world. And so I'm going to pose the question to Cape Town, how they see this has affected English clubs in terms of their transfer business. I don't know who would like to answer that question.
I'll take that.
Letu going to answer that question. Letu, the floor is yours.
Well, with the increasing popularity of the Premier League and it being regarded, widely known as the best league in the world, that means a lot of fans are watching the Premier League. So then these teams are earning a lot more on average with their TV deals than teams from other leagues. So if you're an English team looking to dip into the European market and perhaps fetch a Bundesliga star or Serie A stars, the fact that those clubs know that you have more money means that they can stretch you more. And especially if a player is under contract, I feel like the bargaining power is with the seller now. So it's more about what they want for the player than what we think they're worth. So for English Premier League teams, it has made transfer market business tougher because often they're looking beyond their shores and they're being made to pay more simply because everyone knows that they have more money and they can actually pay more.
How crazy is it getting? What are the parameters to measure on? Do you measure on potential? Do you measure on proven experience and winning trophies? Gents, the floor is yours.
Alright, I'll give this a go first. You know, it's very, very tricky because, first of all, let me say these numbers are crazy. Let's get that out the way. The numbers are crazy. 50 million for Gylfi, 50 million for Kyle Walker is outrageous. But at the end of the day, this is the market we're in. If you as a club, are going to take a gamble on someone's potential like Mbappe or Dembele, who's being touted by Barcelona at the moment, that's your prerogative. But when you telling me that somebody like Gylfi Sigurdsson, who's in his late 20s, is going to go for 50 million, who's not even like a Champions League level player for 50 million pounds, I think it's utterly ridiculous. No, just chat.
Yeah, so look, just touching on what this guy said, and I think maybe Leto might have brought this up, I just have a problem with the whole valuation of players because number one, it's inconsistent. But number two, in terms of like for the English market, for example, when a player has a European price and an English price, when a team from England buys a player, like it doesn't bode well for the rest of the people who are trying to buy that player in the future, or any other team who may be trying to buy the guy in the future. So for my thing, it's like if someone is bought now, so Pogba's worth 90 million now, according to United. In fact, according to the transfer market, and Neymar's worth 196 million pounds. Who's gonna buy them next? You know, it doesn't bode well for the rest of the teams, the rest of the teams in all of the other leagues, and in fact even for the smaller teams. Like smaller teams can't buy players anymore. It's going to be a big league, a big team league, a big team European champion situation, a big team sport. So the whole player evaluation thing,
like,
I think it should be experience. I don't think it should be potential.
Don't you low key think it's always been a big team sport? It's just that the numbers are getting bigger now. Do you know what I mean?
But the things that it's also because of these big spenders, these clubs with Arab owners and things like that. It goes back to the financial fair play thing. Like they're just spending so much money that they make the market go up. Like every player goes up essentially just because of Neymar going for over 200 million, for Pogba going for 90 million. Like it's just that there's no consistency, and it needs to go back to where we have to get things regulated. Things have to get regulated.
How?
Make the fines higher.
I don't know. Cape Town's quiet. Can you guys tell me how it's gonna go back?
Let's touched on it a bit when he mentioned that, you know, it's a seller's market. So I think that's the first thing, is that me as a club, if I know that my main player, there's a club, like a bigger club, wants to get him, I'm going to make sure that I get as much as I can out of him. So I think value is very, it's not relative, I guess. Like it's down. I don't think we can actually box it down and say, no, we need to do it like this, because you can't tell me as Swansea, for instance, my dead ball specialist, you want to buy him, he's still on contract for like 2-3 seasons. I'm going to get as much as I can out of it. That's unfortunately what it's like now.
For sure. I hear that, gents. I hear what you guys are saying, but then just to get back to this particular valuation situation in terms of potential versus experience. I mean, there was the interesting question about that. Is Ousmane Dembele worth more than Alexis Sanchez? Let's say they both had as much left on their contracts. Is Sanchez worth the kind of prices that Dembele is being touted as? I'm hearing 90 million pounds for Dembele, 100 million euros for Dembele. But Sanchez has delivered. He's done the business. We've seen it. What do you guys think about that kind of situation? Sansa?
Yeah, I think with those kind of situations also goes back to the potential. Exactly. Like it just goes back to what a player has done and the potential of the player. In the case of Dembele and Sanchez, Dembele, you can see he's got a lot of potential. He seems like a player who can do a lot for a big team, right? Sanchez has done a lot for big teams and he's still proving himself, which is why he could be rated at a high price. And also with Dembele, it's because he's very young. I think that's why they look at potential. The potential to do so much, and that the potential that the team is losing is very important as well.
So just to clarify, are you saying that they can be valued at around the same amount, but for very different reasons?
For very different reasons.
I agree with that.
But also, guys, do you guys not think that, like, in terms of play evaluations, do you not think that, like, it's also unfair how it's also low-key dependent on the team that they're playing for? So a player of the same caliber will cost more because they come from Barca or Bayern or whatever than they would cost playing for
but that makes sense because they played at a higher level.
Yeah, I'm not talking about yes, and I agree with you completely. But I'm saying two players who are both 19 years old, they both had one season.
Yeah.
The one may have played in a lower bottom table team. They might have played maybe the majority of the games.
Yeah.
But the one might have played half of the games in a big team season. But he'll be valued more because he comes from a big team, even though he hasn't got the same amount of game experience.
But he's breaking into a bigger team.
And that's the thing. He's breaking into a team.
For sure, gents. Yes, gents. I hear you there. Gentlemen. This is not a Team Joburg conversation. Let's got some thoughts here also. Give it a rest there. My question, gents, is that do you take the risk though? Mbappe, you know, they're talking high 100 whatever million pounds. How long have you guys known about Kylian Mbappe? How long has he been on the map? He's been on the map for around half a year. You know, it hasn't even been a full season. So When do you guys take the plunge? Are you guys brave enough to sign that deal off? Or do you guys, like what I'm hearing what Madrid might do? Do you guys wait it out and actually see what's gonna happen? Kaya, go for it.
I hear everything you're saying, and personally, as Kaya, if I'm the director of a team, I'm not taking that plunge. But at the same time, I understand what other teams do, because yes, we haven't known Kylian Mbappe for long, and yes, it might just be a bit of hype around him, but how do you know? That's why it's called a risk. How do you know you're not getting the next Cristiano Ronaldo, dude? It's a risk for that reason. If you're willing to spend 190 M's on this kid, and you know, it's one of those things that if it works out, everyone's gonna look at you and gonna be like, yo, you're the man. And if it's, you know, if Mbappe doesn't turn out to be as great as he is, everyone's gonna look back at you and be like, ah, dude, you're an idiot. But I'm just saying that I get why some people might do it.
I think in terms of why clubs may take that risk, and why it has made the sellers, or why it has made it a seller's market, is because number one, you are buying potential, right?
Yes.
And in terms of the experienced players, it's very hard to get a very experienced player in this day and age, because everyone wants to keep the experienced players. Everyone wants to keep their proven goal scorers,
Except
you know,
Chelsea.
games except Chelsea apparently. But like I do understand why some clubs are more willing to sell their potential and keep their experience. And I do understand why that has made potential quite valuable in this day and age.
Then maybe just in closing this section here, is it sustainable? This kind of spending that we're seeing? Are we expecting to see the world record be broken again and again and again? How do you guys see this going in the future? Are these the prices that we have now? Zooms?
I think we're gonna come to a point where we reach a slowdown. I think after this Neymar transfer, maybe an Mbappe or Usman, or maybe even Coutinho within this transfer season is gonna go for big money. But I think that a lot of clubs now, there are far less players being available, good players being available now. So teams are gonna now start looking into their youth systems. Because also, economically speaking, like the world is also in a bit of a recession of sorts. So I think that it's going to slow down. I mean, it's going to go up again at some point, but I think in the short term, the next 5 years, I think that we're going to see a major slowdown in the big buys, and lots of the bigger clubs now looking internally
For sure.
for more players.
For sure. And Sansa, what's your thought on that?
Teams like PSG are around, it will not stop, because PSG even said after the Neymar signing, they said they could afford Bale, they could afford Ronaldo, they could afford Messi. They still have the money. Not Bale, they said Messi and Ronaldo. They can still afford them. So they still have that money. Imagine other teams who are still basically getting their money, like Manchester City. They've spent a lot of money. They're gonna continue doing this until they're dominant. Their main goal is to win. So they will do whatever it takes. If they have the resources for it, they will do it. And that's going to kill the talent. That's going to kill the youth. And they're just going to keep on buying these big name players. And I think it will get to an end where it will like die down a bit, but not anytime soon. Because if teams like PSG still have their money, and that oil money keeps coming in, it's late, guys. It's really late.
So some expect the Neymar transfer fee to be beaten.
I think so. I think they can.
220
They
million
really
euros.
can. They really can.
222 million.
If they want to, they can.
No.
If they want to, they can. If Mbappe is back this season and he stays in Monaco, I'm telling you, PSG could throw 250 or something.
222
I'm telling you.
I'm telling you.
I think that's outlandish.
And you have to remember with Neymar's one is that's a release clause also. That's not even a negotiated
Yeah.
price. You know?
It's meant to be
That's the
released.
thing. Like that's a childish like Sansa, it beat Pogba's one by more than 100 million pounds, my boy.
And did you ever think it would happen? Nothing. It happened. So what makes you think that it won't happen again? If PSG are still saying that they can do things like signing Messi, like signing Ronaldo, they're not afraid, bruh. They're not afraid.
Great topic. And this is why this is our favorite section of the show. So that closes. The floor is yours.